Okay. I have read the Bible once before in my life, but this time I am reading it with commentary for you guys, and with the recent loss of my brother. 2 weeks ago, my 11-year-old brother died, so we'll be speaking philosophically and historically and anthropologically as we read the Bible, not just religiously. I'm not preaching to you, I promise. I'm not a preacher. Though I am a registered minister. Alright, anyway. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the deep. Spirit God was hovering over the waters. And God said, "Let there be light." There was light. God saw the light, it was good, and he separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening, and there was morning, the first day. And God said, "Let there be an expanse between the waters to separate the water from water." So God made the expanses and separated the water under the expanse from the water above it, and it was so. God called the expanse sky. I'm not gonna dispute this, but already you can tell, like, the sky is not what separates water from water. Uh, God called the expanse sky, and there was evening, and there was morning, and the second day. And God said, "Let the water under the sky be gathered to one place, and let the ground appear." And it was so. God called the dry ground land, and gathered waters he called seas. And God saw it was good. Then God said, "Let the land produce vegetation, seed-bearing plants, and trees on the land that bear fruit with seed in it according to their various kinds. The word kind means that it's not allowed to breed within other species, but that's not true. You could breed an apple and a pear, or a mint and a sage, but the Bible says that that's not allowed. That's not good. But it can happen. Uh, the land that bare fruit with seed in it, according to its various kinds. And it was so. The land produced vegetation, plants bearing seeds according to their kinds. Seeds according to their kinds. There's no such thing as kinds. It's like racism. It's called etymology, but it's racism with plants. Like saying that there's a certain type of plant. Like, plants aren't plants. A palm tree is no different than a pine tree. It's just the way it adapted. Like, it's racism. It's racist to call a palm tree different than a pine tree. They're the same. They're trees. Anyway, the land produced vegetation, plants bearing seeds according to their kinds, and trees bearing fruit with the seeds in it according to their kinds. And God saw that it was good. And there was evening and there was morning the third day. And God said, "Let there be lights in the expanse of the sky to separate the day from the night, and let them serve as signs, to mark seasons and days and years." Okay. God wouldn't have been setting days and years. Days and years don't exist. That's just our measurement of the sun. The fact that the sun is spinning around, or no, the fact that the earth is spinning around in a circle is a day. The fact that the earth is spinning around the sun is a year. He didn't do it so that we could have years. It just is. And let them light the expanse of the sky to light unto the earth, and it was so. God made two great lights, and the greater light to govern the day, and lesser light to govern the night. He also made the stars. God set them in the expanse of the sky to give light unto the earth, to govern the day and the night, and to separate the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. And there was evening, and there was morning, and there was the fourth day. So he created the stars. Mark Twain has a theory that God created the stars by going, and then like the Big Bang Theory, kind of, and stars into existence. And then he said to the archangels, he said, "You see the earthlings?" And the angel said, "No, I see nothing but sparks." And God said, "No, no, look close, look close." And they say, "I see a planet, but I see no people." He said, "No, look closer." And the angels finally said, "I see people. There are people down there." And God said, Those, those people, they are greater than you. Though they are made of dirt and you are made of light, they have free will. We'll get to that later. Angels and humans have not animosity, but feud, and that's why the devil's in hell. But anyway, and God said, "Let there be light in the expanse of the sky to separate the day from the night, and let this serve as signs to mark the sea, the suns, the days, and the years of God, so that the waters came." Okay, and God saw that it was darkness, and God saw that it was good. And there was evening, and there was morning, and the fourth day. And God said, "Let the water teem with living creatures, and let the birds fly above the earth across the expanse of the sky." So God created the great creatures of the sea, and every living, moving thing with which the waters teems according to their kinds, and every winged bird according to its kind. Again, these words, according to its kind, like things aren't allowed to change and mutate and crossbreed. Bird according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. God blessed them and said, "Be fruitful and increase in number, and fill the water with the seas, and the birds, and increase the earth." And there was evening, and there was morning, and the fifth day. And God said, "Let the land produce living creatures according to their kinds, livestock creatures that move along the ground, and wild animals, each according to its kind." And it was so. God made the wild animals according to their kinds, the livestock according to their kinds, and all creatures that move along the ground according to their kinds. And God saw that it was good. Okay, so like they're basically saying that they were domesticating animals, and they made horses, and horses were able to breed, but when they bred a horse with a donkey, it made a mule, and that wasn't good. That's not a kind. Like you gotta read what they're saying. A kind is one that continues, and they picked the certain kinds that get to continue. And sometimes a kind can't continue. Like if you mix a horse and a donkey, it makes a mule, and a mule is a sterile animal. It can't make a baby. But there are things you can mix together to make new species. But the Bible tries to keep us away from that. They try to pretend like they figured it out, and as if they had already figured out the best kind. But the kind shouldn't even come into it. We should be like crossbreeding everything within everything. Eventually, one day, humans should be able to have plant babies. I mean, it's weird now, but I mean, like in a million years. Alright, anyway. Livestock creatures in the ground, and the wild animals, each according to its kind, and it was so. God made the wild animals according to their kinds, and the livestock according to their kinds, and the creatures that move along the ground according to their kinds. And God saw that it was good. And this is saying that there was no wild animals tamed, there was no domestication, there was no people pulling animals from the wild into domestic. It's just like people were there, and cows were there, and chickens were there, and that's just the way it is. That's what this Bible says. It says like that's just how it is. Like they don't explain how it happened. And then the livestock according to their kinds, and the creatures that move along the ground according to their kinds. God saw that it was good. Then God said, "Let us make man in our image, and in our likeness, and let them rule over the fish of the sea, and the birds of the air, and the livestock, all of the earth, and all of the creatures of the moving ground." So God created man in his own image. In the image of God he created him. Male and female he created them. God blessed them and said to them, "Be fruitful, increase in the number, and fill the earth, and subdue, rule over fish of the sea, and the birds of the air, and over the creatures that move on the ground." Then God said, "I give you every seed-bearing plant on the face of the whole earth, every tree that has fruit with seed in it." So, if there's a plant on the earth, we're supposed to be able to use it. I'm not going to try to make a weed argument here, but there is one. They will be yours for food. and to all the beasts of the earth, and all the birds of the air, and the creatures that move on the ground, everything that has breathe life in it, I give every green plant for food. So not only is it for us, it is for everything that breathes life has right to the earth. Everything that breathes has the right to the earth. God saw all he had made, and it was good. And there was everything, there was morning, the sixth day. And this is chapter 2, so I'll end this video here.